Hello everyone, I am Hanilove Magayon Torres and I am the first reporter. Our topic for today is all about prescriptive grammar. So what is prescriptive grammar? Prescriptive grammar, a set of prescribed rules which tells people how to speak or write on 18th century. Prescriptive grammar also a set of rules about language based on how people think language should be used. In a prescriptive grammar, there is right and wrong language. So these are the representatives who dictates how people should write or speak. We have here Robert Loth, Lindley Murray, Alexander Brain, and Joseph Priestley. The first grammars of English were prescriptive, not descriptive. The most influential grammar of this period was Robert Loth's Short Introduction to English Grammar 1762. The aim of this grammar was to teach us to express ourselves with propriety and to enable us to judge of every phrase and form of construction, whether it be right or not. A noun was presented in the form of the Latin noun paradigm. We have here nominative. Is the case used for a noun or pronoun which is the subject of the verb. For example, the house. Next is genitive. Is the grammatical case that marks a word, usually a noun, as modifying another word. For example, of the house. Next is dative. Is a grammatical case for nouns and pronouns. For example, to the house. Next is accusative, a grammatical case that marks the direct object of a verb or the object of any several prepositions. For example, the house. Next is ablative, a grammatical case expressing typically the relations of separations and source and also frequently such relations as cause or instrument. For example, in, at, from the house. And last is vocative. Vocative is a case of nouns, pronouns, and adjectives in Latin and other languages used in addressing or invoking a person or thing. For example, the house. Latinization of English grammar was also reflected in the system of parts of speech. Patterning after Latin, prescriptivists set up a classification of 8 parts of speech: noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, adverb, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. To sum up, prescriptive grammar could be characterized by the following features. First, patterning after Latin in classifying words into word classes and establishing grammatical categories. Second, reliance on meaning and function in definitions. Third, approach to correctness. The standards of correctness are logic, which was identified with Latin in the past. And fourth, emphasis on writing rather than speech.
Hi everyone, my name is Nika Malco and my topic is all about prescriptive approach. So prescriptive approach is an attitude toward language based on what is held to be correct by socially prestigious elements and by teachers. It is an approach that has rules for the proper use of the language, traditionally based on Latin grammar. It is one thing to adopt the grammatical labels, for example, the noun and the verb to categorize words in English sentences. It is quite another thing to go on to claim that the structure of English sentences should be like the structure of sentences in Latin. This attitude evinces complete disregard for the way a community actually talks. Prescriptive grammar is an approach to grammar that is concerned with establishing norms of correct and incorrect usage and formulating rules based on these norms to be followed by users of the language. So meaning to say, prescriptive grammar is a rules of good or proper usage which dictate what is good grammar and what is a bad grammar. Like for example, she doesn't know him. For example number 2, she don't know him. Example number 1 is supposed to be good, while example number 2 is supposed to be bad. And why is it bad? It is because the basic problem with she don't know him is it is not part of the standard English, but it is part of some varieties or dialects of English. Is there a logic to this judgment? Well, technically, what the example shows is the absence of the third person singular agreement is. So to be correct, it should be doesn't. She doesn't know him. So we should remember the agreement morphemes on a verb mark who the subject of the verb is. It is the absence of agreement somehow
is a
makes the
phenomenon
sentence
in natural
bad
language
or in which the
illogical.
form of one word or morpheme co-varies with the form of another word or phrase in the sentence. Consider modal verbs like can, would, could, may, etc. in standard English. So as you can see, agreement in grammar is the correspondence of a verb with its subject in person and number, and of a pronoun with its antecedent in person, number, and gender. Meaning to say, subject must agree with verbs, and pronouns must agree with antecedents. Let us all remember that it is the absence of agreement somehow makes the sentence bad or illogical.
Prescriptive grammar. When we say prescriptive grammar, it is the traditional approach of grammar that tells people how to use the English language, what forms they should utilize, and what function they should serve. According to linguists Alcir de Procter and Chad Langford, a grammar is one that gives hard and fast rules about what is right or grammatical and what is wrong or ungrammatical, often with advice about what not to say but with little explanation. A person who dictates how people should write or speak is called a prescriptivist or a prescriptive grammarian. Later on, we will discuss about a prescriptive grammarian. Varieties of prescriptive grammar. The rules set out by prescriptive grammar have kind of a mixed character. First, standard or written styles. Use third person with s, no double negative, etc. Sample: I didn't go nowhere. Second is cases in which people differ. Who or whom did you say at the park? And the data are or is interesting. Now we have a prescriptive grammarian. Prescriptive grammarian are judgmental and attempt to change linguistic behavior of a particular sort and in a particular direction. A prescriptive grammarian would say that something is grammatical only if the surface forms conforms to a set of rules that the grammarian believes should be followed in order for a certain grammar style is achieved. Example: to boldly go where no man has gone before. The example here would be described as a result of the mental grammar causing that ordering of words, rather than saying that the surface form is faulty due to prescriptive rules, which would require the sentence to go. Rules for Latin don't work well for English. First is English and Latin are very different kinds of languages. Latin is a language that relies on case endings or inflections. So, the Latin has case ending and not prepositions. And you can't split infinitive in Latin. They are a single word. And last, English is a language that relies on word order to express rules that words to play. That's all. Thank you.